Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the iRacing Porsche Carrera Cup, coming to you live from Twin Ring Motegi for round 7, and tonight we have a 1 hour endurance race. As you can see, they have 13 minutes of qualifying left to go, but before we get into that, I'd like to introduce you to the commentary team tonight. It's myself, Bernie Weemers, and I'm joined here with Clint Smith. Hi Clint, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, hey Bernie, how's it going? It's good to be here for my very first road series course calling. Usually I'm on dirt racing on Wednesday nights, but it's great to see me jump in here for the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia round 7, I believe it is. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Some really good names in this field tonight.
It certainly is. They've got a bumper field out here tonight, folks. There's actually 2 rooms they're qualifying in. We're in the biggest room. This room has 28 drivers in it, and I think the other one has about 8. So we're going to look at a field around about 34 to 35 drivers once qualifying's done, and that should make for some good racing over the next hour. The race is due to start at around about 8:35, and hopefully it'll be a lot of entertainment for all the viewers out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's great to see we've got a bit of nighttime racing going here as well. So usually we see most league races, they do daytime events and things like that, but it's always really a really good spectacle when the sun goes down, the lights come on and you see the brakes light up, and it adds a whole different effect to the broadcast as well as to the driver as well, because you've got to deal with the dark areas on the track as well as people with rear lights. And I believe the Porsche also have flashing lights as well, so they've got to watch out for people flashing lights at you.
Yeah, they've been practicing with the flashing lights. The other thing I like is, of course, you see the brake rotors light up when they jump on those brakes, which is always very nice to view as well. But at the moment, they are qualifying. Michael Healy, he's the only man in the 150s at the moment, just in the 150s with a 159.23. He's first fastest in this room. Baden Reed is the second fastest in the WP Elements entry there, 151.113. Thomas Hins coming off a great race last night in the Xfinity NASCAR races. He'll be looking to see if he can dominate once again tonight. He said his fastest time, 151.180. Then looking at Scott Lanark at the moment in 4th with a 151.319, and he's sponsored by Logitech. And then rounding out your top 5 is Jason Hyde, 151.670, and Clint, he's carrying a very nice Caltex Vortex paint job there. Looks very Lowndes-esque.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. Anyone that runs Caltex on their car, I'm very favourable for, because obviously I'm a store manager at one of the Caltex service stations, but not only that, I'm sponsored myself in real world karting as well. So anyone that's got the Caltex logo on their car, I'm going for them tonight, that's for sure.
As you said that, he pulls off the track. Hopefully that's not an omen. But yeah, let's have a look at the points as they stand, folks, coming into this round 7. So at the moment, Scott Lanark, we just had him on screen before, second fastest. He's leading the way, 251 points, but Michael Healy is only 11 points behind him, sitting in second on 240 points. Cameron Dance, not sure if Cameron's here tonight, but he's sitting in third on 235 points. Thomas Hins 4th on 217 points, and rounding out your top 5 is Dylan Shepherd on 166 points. He's actually equal 5th, as Richard Skender is also on 166 points.
Yeah, so it looks pretty close there in the point standings at the moment, Bernie. So it's definitely going to make tonight even more important, being a 1 hour endurance race. Obviously, these drivers are going to have to consult to pit stops, and also that random safety car that's going to pop up as well. So possibly if you pit at the wrong time when that safety car comes out, that could make you lose points in the championship. So definitely going to be interesting when this night pans out where everyone's going to be in the championship.
Certainly is. Some interesting things going on out there at the moment, as between the 08 and the 9. I'm not sure what these guys are doing, but one was flashing lights, zigzagging behind him, turned him around, and then Jason came past him and spun in front of him. So not sure if they're mucking around or if something's going on out there.
Yeah, now also we'll have to wait and see in the race to see if anything eventuates from that. So, but hopefully these drivers are mature enough. It is something serious that they can carry it over to the race, but yeah, I doubt anything will happen from it.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of the time you see them, they're just mucking around on track and we happen to just catch them on the circuit. But got a bit of news on Sam Deventia here. Unfortunately, he's not racing tonight because he doesn't own the track. But he also had a fairly poor race at GT3 at Bathurst. He had prepared all week. Clinton, he had not a very good showing, so he's still dealing with that disappointment. But if you're out there, Sam, hope you have a great Easter, mate. Put your feet up, watch the broadcast, and enjoy what's about to unfold.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll run through some information about the track tonight. So as Bernie said at the start of the show, we're at a twin ring Motegi tonight. The track length is 4.8 kilometres long with 14 turns in total, and the maximum pit stalls at this track is 35. So obviously we should have a full field here tonight, so they can double up the pits if need be, but I don't think we'll need that tonight. So as we said as well, it's a 1 hour endurance race tonight with a random safety car popping up at some point during the race. Even we don't know when it's going to come up, so it's going to be a surprise to us as well as just the drivers. Each driver gets 2 fast repairs as well, so if you do happen to sustain some sort of damage during the race, you can pull in the pits, get a quick repair and get back out there and join in. At least that way everyone can have fun, complete a race and get some points. Another thing we'll run through quickly is the weather. Currently it's partly cloudy with 26 degrees and 26 degrees track temperature, so it's still fairly warmish for a nighttime race. Usually when the sun goes down you sit about 20 degrees or 19 degrees, so 26 degrees is still good weather. At least it's not too hot for us, Bernie, tonight.
Yeah, that's right. And 78 degrees Fahrenheit if you're watching this from other places in the world that doesn't have Celsius. But wherever you're watching it, folks, hope you're going to enjoy tonight's coverage. If you're watching it on YouTube, leave a comment and we'll be sure to read it out. That's on our YouTube channel. And anyone joining us on Twitch or Facebook or Periscope, we hope you are enjoying tonight's telecast. We've got 5 minutes of qualifying to go. We can see our Guy Leach out there at the moment in a beautifully presented 46. He's currently 11th fastest. His best time, a 1:52.729.
Yeah, I tell you what, every time I see that number 46 on track, it always looks smoking hot. It does. I've seen it a couple of times running GT3 class and things like that, so it's definitely a well presented car, and I'm pretty sure Guy Leach has also entered in the All-Star Shootout, which is next Tuesday as well. He's one of our drivers driving for the Gavin Sandler Racing. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he goes tonight and how he goes next week.
Yeah, definitely. And if you go to the Facebook page, I'll give you that address now, folks. There's a bit of a competition going on by the organisers, and you can go to facebook.com/RRTV live. Have a look at that post, and there's a little bit of a competition going on to vote for who you think will be the best team. I think they've got about 10 or 11 teams picked for this race Tuesday night, and of course that'll be covered live on RRTV.
Yeah, definitely. So as we see on the leaderboards now, Scott Lunarch now slots himself into second place and start in front of Baden Reed. So with the 151.110. So literally a pin separating those two drivers between second and third. So and Thomas Hinds has been dropped back to fourth, that means. So Thomas has to try and find something special. All he needs to do is to gain a 10th, and he'll gain 2 spots there, Bernie.
Yeah, and it's oh, there we go. It was basically a couple of teammates were mucking around, and it was the wrong time for us to catch it on stream. So, yeah, that's what we thought it might have been. So, a
little bit of inter-team arguing, I think, probably. Who's going to end up drafting who during qualifying?
Yeah, who knows? But, yeah, you know, we're the media, so we jump all over something like that when we see it. But it's good to see the guys are just mucking around out there and having a bit of fun. But it's quite another interesting thing I find here psychologically. You know, you look at the gap between Michael and Scott, and they're 0.2 of a second behind each other. But because one's in the high 150s, I'm sure that psychologically will be playing a little bit on Scott's mind.
Oh, definitely. Being the only driver in that 1 minute 50 bracket and everyone else is 151s, you're just going to look at that and go, wow, I need to get a 1 minute 50. I mean, yeah, I mean, even I wouldn't be able to steer one of these Porsches that well. I mean, I know I dipped my foot in a couple of times. I think there was in the Scops Porsche series they ran last year, I think it was. So I had a couple of goes in that, and it's definitely a weird car to drive because you've got to brake really hard early, roll through the corner, and get on the power as soon as you can so it can grip up. So yeah, I just couldn't handle that. I'm so used to the GT3 style car where you just slam the brake on the last minute, turn and just accelerate, no rolling, no nothing. So it's definitely a weird car to drive, but both Michael Healy, Lanarch and Reed and Hinds, they definitely got this car under control.
Yeah, and we've got Baden Reed on the screen at the moment, third fastest. His last time was a 2:04, 2:09, so well off the pace there. We'll see if he improves. Generally, though, we find with qualifying, the fastest laps are set early in the session, and by now, a lot of them would probably be starting to focus on race setup and that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like I said, it's a 1 hour race. You're definitely going to have to make sure your car's set up for when the track grips up. Obviously, if you have it set up to come on too soon, yeah, you're just not going to get anywhere towards the end of the race. So nailing that set is going to definitely pocket you a good result in the night. So, and just having a look as well, Cameron Dance just quickly popped into the room, but then he manually disconnected again. So perhaps he's trying to get into the room so he can participate in this race. He hasn't set a lap time as of yet, but obviously he's trying to get into the room. So perhaps we may still see him race tonight.
Yeah, well, he might have set a time in the other room, of course, and he might be just coming in to spy, which...
Yeah, forgot about that, the other room.
Yeah. And we found, you know, it's quite deceptive. A couple of rounds ago we were calling it, and we always say that, like, Michael Healy's got provisional pole because the other room we weren't covering, one of the drivers actually beat him onto that pole position. So it's still a mystery exactly what the grid's going to be made up of or who's going to be where, but it always makes for an exciting evening.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be interesting to see who's actually in the other room as well. So could be some big names, you never know, like Muggleton and things like that. You never know, people like that might show up and definitely give a good show as the night goes on.
Yeah, well, one person that was in that other room was Dylan Shepherd. Not sure if he's in there tonight, but he was the one that actually stole, well, didn't steal. He actually took pole position off the fastest person, which was, I think, Michael Healy, who's the fastest here once again tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Shepherd's definitely come on form as of late. I mean, I think in the past year, he's definitely become one of the GT3 drivers of Australia. See him racing with, I think it's a European team. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember the name, but he's been doing some work with them lately, and ever since then, he's just definitely skyrocketed. So, yeah, it's great to see his form as of late.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we can see JC Richards out here on screen at the moment, driving for Progression Racing Australia in the 023, currently 7th fastest, and their best time is a 1:51.756.
Cool, just having a look at the chat on YouTube at the moment. A bit of a spy says, apparently in the other room, Fawzan El Nabi set a 50.6, so that could be your pole time. We'll have to wait and see when they grid up, but yeah.
Yeah, and Blair Walton said Cam is a spy, so there you go. But yeah, so interesting. Already the mind games are starting, isn't it great?
Yeah, it's good when the mind games and the banter goes on. So that's a good thing about iRacing, and that we're very serious, but we also know how to have fun and have a bit of a dig at each other and things like that. Not in an offensive way, but just in a fun way. So that's why it's a good thing about the community is everyone gets to have a good time.
Yeah, well, exactly right. And one thing the community has in common is they all love their motor racing, and they all love to enjoy their motor racing and the close battles. So very nice, close-knit community, friendly community for anyone that's joining us for the first time tonight and might be thinking of trying sim racing. I can highly recommend the Australian club, that's for sure. Well, any club really. If you join up, I'm sure you'll find some great people there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most clubs you join up with, things like that, everyone in there, no matter if they're part of a team, and they're usually generally helpful with getting you set up and started and things like that. So I know when I first started, it was a bit daunting when you first come on iRacing because it's completely different to what you even think it was going to be. And yeah, and then I had a few people give me a few pointers, and yeah, it straight away made my experience so much more better. So definitely joining a club and then just chatting to people, definitely a good start when you join iRacing.
Yeah, and we just had a look. The points we read out earlier tonight, folks, just been told that those points are wrong. There's a few things being reviewed, incidents being reviewed more in depth, so that those point scores may change, but that's what we have at the moment. If anything does change in the coming rounds, we'll definitely let you know. But looking at your qualifying now that's ended here, Michael Healy, he set the fastest time in this room with a 1:59.23. Scott Lanark, second fastest, 1:59.59. Baden Reed, third, with a 1:51.113. Thomas Hinds was fourth fastest with a 1:51.180. Then Jason Hyde, he rounds out our top five with a time of 1:51.393.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the lap times in the other room, but no doubt, just by looking at these lap times, it's going to be a really close race tonight. So hopefully these drivers realise it's a long race. We get through the first couple of corners and smooth sailing from there with some close battles.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a fun race. In a 1 hour enduro is a fairly long race. The random safety car does play a big part in these, of course. As far as pits go, we'll be expecting them to make one stop over that time, generally just for fuel. I don't expect anyone to be throwing in any tyres on these cars for the 1 hour stint. But what always plays on the back of their mind, Clint, is the pit window, for one, whether they're going to go deep or going to go early. And if they go deep into the race, it always plays on their mind what happens if they get caught out with that random safety car.
Yeah, exactly. That random safety car just throws a massive curveball into it because, as you said, you just don't know. I mean, do you pit early just to try and get the undercut when the safety car comes up? But then you're going to have to go all race and just pretty much murder your tyres, and you also might run very, very short on fuel if you don't fill it up properly. Then you have to make a second stop, or like you said, do you run long? But even then, though, you're risking the chance of safety car coming out too soon when everyone else is pitted. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad I don't have to make this decision tonight. Just sit here and watch and call the action as it goes on.
Yeah, it's always fun. There's always a curveball. Last time we saw one of these races, a safety car came out, and it does shuffle up the pack, brings them all together, and it did have quite an effect on the race, which, of course, for the viewers out there, it always makes for exciting viewing. So we're hoping tonight will be the same. With the amount of drivers that have turned up tonight, I think it will be a very exciting race, and probably one of the bigger fields we've seen in the last couple of rounds here.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that could come down to is, like it says, nighttime racing. I mean, we very rarely see leagues do nighttime racing. I don't know why. I mean, it's a great spectacle. I mean, I know not many tracks offer the option of going to nighttime. I mean, I know you got places like Spa, Daytona, here at Twin Ring, Motegi. Can't think of any others off the top of my head. So the ISC bring as well. So there's not that many options, but obviously from what we've been told by iRacing, they're also in the works of day-night transitions. So it means any track, you better go nighttime racing, which I'm really, really looking forward to, Bernie, especially those 24-hour races. You can go from day to night.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic, isn't it? And I reckon Le Mans 24-hour this year is definitely going to be a spectacle because they've got the new cars, and day-to-night transition is really going to make people feel like they're racing in a 24-hour race. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I think we might even have to give a bit of a nudge to race spots as well as iRacing and see if we can get 6 hours of that broadcast for ourselves and call the action, I reckon, because it's going to be good, I reckon.
Oh, it's going to be an absolutely amazing race, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know if I'm not doing any commentary, I'll definitely be maybe trying to drive in it. But then again, that's like showing up at the Formula One with a go-kart. That's what I'd be like.
I tell you what, if you have a drive, I'll have a drive myself using the mouse. All right, I don't have a steering wheel at the moment, but I'll use the mouse. I'll give it a go. I'll team up with you.
You'd still beat me.
I mean, you should see what I do sometimes. I mean, sometimes I'm actually like before a league race or before dirt racing on Wednesday nights, I try and give it a go, see what the car's like. And I tell you what, trying to drive a speed car or one of the midgets, with a mouse and a keyboard, the front will just keep lifting off the ground.
Yeah, same with the joystick. I tried that as well. I don't do that anymore. I just watch. But anyway, folks, it looks like the new server has just come up. So we're going to go to a very quick break. When we come back, we'll have the final practice and then we'll have the race. So stick with us. Go and get your favourite drink and we'll see you back on RRTV in the next couple of minutes. Hi there folks, welcome back to round 7 of the Twin Ring Motegi Porsche Carrera Cup 2018 round. And as you can see folks, the drivers are out there now doing their warm-up and we will be racing very shortly. But we hope you have your favourite drink, popcorn, whatever else you takes your fancy on this Friday night, and strap yourself in for one great race. But big field out here tonight, Clint.
Yeah, definitely. So now that we've got the two rooms now combined, we ended up with 33 cars total. So a great showing, as you said. definitely a lot of big names in this field carrying over. So still, I don't see any qualifying results yet, so we'll have to wait till that grid pops up via iRacing. But yeah, I'm very eager to see, and it's good to see Cameron dance as well, as we suspected. He was in the other room as well, Bernie.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see the sort of times. One thing we do know was Forzen Al Nabi set the fastest time from what we know, and if that is correct, he was at least 0.4 a second faster than Michael Healy in the room we're in.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great result there for the Performance Sim Sports driver. To secure a pole position by the looks of it very comfortably. So let's just hope that he's got that the race setup sorted pretty well as well. But no doubt, being part of Performance Sim Sport, he'll definitely have that thing on rails, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. And another driver that was in the second room, or the other room, is Blair Walton. He's out here in the lucky number 13. And we'll see what sort of times he's setting. At the moment in practice, he's setting a time of 1:59.600, but you know, these times don't mean much when they're dialing their cars in. Richard Skender, another one from the other rooms, the fastest so far, with a 1:53.958.
Yeah, definitely. So as we see, these times will come down. Just having a look at the track conditions, obviously, warm-up is come down to 0% for the track state. So we're starting off with a fresh track, so that could be the reason why we're seeing some slow times at the moment, because all that grip's been taken out of the track. So it's going to take them a couple of laps to lay that tyre rubber down, and then we'll see those times come tumbling down. We're faced with very exactly the same weather conditions too, Bernie. So it's partly cloudy and 26 degrees, with the track temperature being 26 degrees as well. The wind is 3.2 kilometres, and that's north. So I believe that's going to be a headwind, possibly down the straight. I'm not quite sure. I'm only guessing at the moment, but I think that's what it is, Bernie.
I tell you what, Clint, that J-Car weather prediction kit we invested in, that $25 is definitely paying for itself, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's good that when you can tell the viewers the sort of weather conditions they're facing, because you never know, man. They could be driving on a 46-degree track temp and setting blistering fast times, and you think that they're on a cold track. So at least this way the viewers know exactly what temperatures are on track and things like that. But unfortunately, I'm going to get used to my Fahrenheit as well, because obviously we're going to have some overseas and international viewers tuning in, and so I'll have to get used to using the Fahrenheit. Yeah, definitely. And of course, you're away from the Speedway last Wednesday night and missed a fantastic event, Clint. It was really good. So we're definitely looking forward to having you back in the Combox, hopefully Wednesday, with Sean O'Hara. Yeah, no, it was very unfortunate that they had to miss it. Unfortunately, just arriving back from Melbourne, going to the Grand Prix and things like that, and being a bit of family time. So I was a bit exhausted, and also had to go pick up my brand new go-kart engine, getting ready for my my national race, which is in 2 weeks' time at Albury. So yeah, I had to go do a few things, but I did tune in every now and again just to see how the action's going. And I know Shane van Gisbergen entered last on the 410s, in the midget. Is that correct, Bernie?
Yeah, well, Shane actually ran in all three. He came out in the street stocks, then he turned up in the midgets, and then he had a run in the sprint cars at the end of the night.
I tell you what, that man likes to use the steering wheel. I mean, when he's not racing various supercars, he's off around the world racing GT3, he's on iRacing, he's drifting. I mean, that man lives and breathes motorsport, that's for sure.
Yeah, he certainly does, and I tell you what, it doesn't matter what he jumps in, he's always extremely competitive, and he definitely showed that on Wednesday night. Yeah,
the other really good thing about people like Shane van Gisbergen and even Scott McLaughlin, I've had a race with them myself in dirt racing, got back a while ago, when they're very, very friendly, very down to earth, and which is great to see from them. Yeah, definitely. And we're just waiting now for... Okay, we have the grid, folks, so let's quickly go through this grid as the guys line up, and we'll go through it as quickly as we possibly can.
So looking at the grid tonight, Forza Nel Nabi, he will start from pole position with the time of 1:56.90. Right next to him is Griffin Gardner starting in second. Out of third tonight will be Michael Healy. Scott Lanark will start out of fourth. Fifth tonight we are seeing Baden Reed with Thomas Hinds starting next to him out of sixth. Out of seventh is Cameron Dance. Eighth, Jason Hyde. Ninth, James McKee. Then we've got JC Richards starting out of 10th with Gene Fittis out of 11th. Rounding out your top 12 is Richard Skender. So we'll go through the rest of the grid here. Race Star 1 starting out of 13th. 14th is Chris Dawson. Starting in 15th is Guy Leach. Luke Lucas will start in 16th. And unfortunately that's as far as we'll get on the grid because we're about to go racing.
And green lights out, Bernie, so they're off and away. So we had a performance sim for front row lockout, so hopefully they can make it to the first corner. Nice and easy, they slot in there. So Forza Nel Nabi leads the way from Griffith Gardner. Michael Helio runs a bit wide there and opens the door for Scott Lanark to come on through. So see contact further back to the field. So that was Guy Leach making contact with someone. So a bit of an incident early on here, Bernie. So these drivers definitely need to calm down. They need to realise it's a 1 hour race.
Yeah, and Cameron Dance, meanwhile, has just made a move on Baden Reed there on the outside. But we've also got a car round into the fence heavily. That's the 08 EMR entry. I'm just trying to get a number on that, folks, to find out who that was. But Cameron Dance has now run wide.
Yeah, I reckon that might have been Hyde, I reckon. So Jason Hyde, by the looks of it. So as I see his name dropping down the timesheet, so very unfortunate for Jason there. Had a really good qualifying session and could be his race over, but as we said, there is a fast repair, so he can quickly get in the pits, fix that car up, and hopefully for that safety car later on, he'll be able to bunch back up and get a good result by the end of the night. So, but I tell you what, Bernie, just having a look at Baden Reed's car, that element paint job, it's a sick looking car, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly pops, doesn't it? But we're coming around halfway through lap 1, folks, and your race standings are at the moment Forza Nel Nabi, he's leading. Let's bring that up properly. Hang on a sec. So we've got Jason Hyde leading this race at the moment. No, he's not. He's in the pits. That's the one we saw in the wall. So Forza Nel Nabi is leading Griffin Gardner. Scott Lanark sitting in third. Michael Healy fourth. And rounding out your top 5 is Baden Reed. And I'll tell you what, these top 4 are starting to drop Baden off. But he's clawing his way back now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the element car might just be taking a couple of laps to warm up the tyres and come on, because he might start off with slightly lower tyre pressures than the rest of this field as well. So, because obviously he realises it is a long race, so perhaps that lower tyre pressures will help him later on. But you're also going to be careful as well, because if you start them off too low, you just overheat the tyres, and the tyres will be destroyed way too soon in the race. So definitely have to wait and see how he goes on. But these performance sim sport drivers are starting to clear out now from Scott Lanark sitting in their second place, so bridging a bit of a gap.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we're having a look further down there. But at the moment, Forza Nel Nabi starting to stretch his legs, as you said. Griffin Gardner going with him. They're both teammates, and Scott Lanark there. I think it's Lanark or Lanash in the 112, just dropping off a little bit with Michael Healy just behind him. Just looking further down in the field to see if we can find any action down here. There's of course Brett Douglas is running in the 76, and he's carrying the V8 Online logos on that car, and we should give them a shout out and congratulate them, because if you wish to carry their logos on your car now, you can, because they're now officially on the iRacing service, so you can always go and support them and carry that.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Congratulations to, as you said, V8 Online, as well as Race Spot as well. So heard Race Spot's in a similar boat as well. So, but I do think that apparently somebody was told by iRacing if he got a tattoo on his chest, then they will put the Race Spot logo up for grabs to put on your car. So, and he actually went and did it, got a tattoo of iRacing logo on his chest. So that's dedication for you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess it's only on his chest, so that should be all right, unless he has a hot date. Then he might have to explain what iRacing is.
He just knows his priorities. He knows sim racing comes first, and everything else comes after that. That's for sure.
We're riding on board. There's a car off in front, and I'm trying to get a number here. We're actually riding with Lakmal Leonage here, and he's flashing his lights at the car in front that has "Check Your Butt" across the rear of its window. I'm just trying to work out. That's 76 he's going past. Brett Douglas, I think it was.
Yeah, just having a look at one of our other fellow commentators, Daniel Leet. He's currently running in 16th, so he did say that he wanted to give commentating a bit of a crack tonight, but he really wants to get behind the wheel again, Bernie, so it's great to see him out there in his Penrite Oils Porsche GT3 Cup car tonight.
Yeah, he loves his racing, and it's good to see him back out there in that Penrite-sponsored Porsche. And right behind him, he's got Richard Brookfield. And interesting paint job this of Richard's, because the car always looks dirty, but it's actually like a circuit board print when you look very close. There's a car off on the inside as well.
Yeah, just having a look at who that is. It's one of the PRA cars. It's Jace Richards. So he was actually running fairly high up in the field. So he was running 8th at the time. So that's dropped him way down the order now. Just having a look where he's currently running. There'll be 20th place. So, and by the looks of it, he's still having issues just running just off at the 90-degree corner. So perhaps we've got a bit of car damage there, Bernie.
Yeah, we're just having a look at the slow-mo replay here. It looks like he's done that all by himself there, got it loose in that Raystar PRA entry, and the 489 just got the back of him as he went around.
Yeah, we also got another car around there is Mitchell Bales. So he was running 25th at the time and just looped it coming around the victory corner. So he spun it all by himself, but he's managed to rejoin and continue on in that GoPro Hero car.
Yeah, he came into turn 1 there, locked the rears, and got it a bit squirrely, but gathered it all back up. But meanwhile, up front, we have Forzinel Nabi. He's got a lead of 0.6 of a second over his teammate Griffin Gardner. Then 1.4 seconds is Scott Lanarch. Michael Healy, nothing really changed in the top 5. And 5th is Baden Reed, but he's starting to get a bit of a queue, and that's Thomas Hinz. Now, it'll be interesting to see what Thomas can do tonight. He was racing in the NASCAR Xfinity, and he was pretty much like the road racing specialist, where a lot of the guys in the NASCARs were struggling at Road America. He pretty much went out and blitzed them and did a fantastic job. So we'll see if that momentum carries along tonight.
Yeah, definitely. One person I'm keeping an eye on at the moment as well is Scott Lanarch. So he's currently last lap, so the fastest lap of his fastest lap of the race was a 1:51.9. So that was 4/10 quicker than Griffith Gardner just in front of him. So Griffith's only in front by 1.1 seconds. So that gap's going to close up pretty quickly if he keeps this up momentum.
Yeah, it certainly will. Riding with Cameron Dance down the front straight here, just trying to get a top end speed as they come out of turn 1-2 and up the back here. Got a little bit sidestepped, but pulled it up. So they're doing around about 222 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, so that's pretty quick in such a small straight, Bernie. These Porsches definitely get up and go. They set very similar lap times to V8 supercars as well, only slightly slower, and that's because they can carry more corner momentum than what the big heavy V8 supercars. They've got less power, but obviously better weight to power ratio.
We just saw there Cameron Dance making a move on Thomas Hinz. That moves Cameron now up to 6th position, and Thomas down to 7th.
Yes, as I was saying, Scott Lanarch now all over the back of Griffith Gardner. He's definitely searching for a pass now, so he's there now. So that 1.1 seconds I was saying at the start of this lap is closed up, and no doubt Scott Lanarch is going to be looking for a pass.
There's a bit of tyre lock-up smoke ahead of them, and that may have been Forzinel Nabi just pinching a brake there as he went through that hairpin.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that too much because it's just going to overheat your tyres, and just wear that up a bit more. I mean, we don't have flat spots in the service at the moment, but we have been told that they are working on the tyre model, so they're going to be bringing in flat spots and things like that. So, but even then, though, you can still damage your tyre in sense of grip wise and overheating it, so you don't want to be doing that too much, especially in a 1 hour race. And from what I hear, a lot of these drivers won't be taking tyres during their pit stop because it's just not worth it. So yeah, if you're going to run the whole 1 hour on cell tyres, you've got to look after them.
Yeah, exactly right, and you're spot on there. They won't take tyres unless they really have to, but it's more going to be a fuel strategy game. The other thing we've got to bear in mind here is if anyone started light and they're going to pit early. At the moment, the only people that have pitted is Jason Hyde. He had to come in. Jason was the car we saw in lap 1 find the fence. That car got towed back. He's used his fast repair and he's back out there. It looks like we've also potentially lost Jordan McDonnell in the number 9. It looks like he may have got out of that car.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Jordan. He was showing a good sign at the start of the race there, but a bit of an incident puts him out for the rest of the race. So very unfortunate, but no doubt we'll see him back next round. But having a look at Griffith Gardner, still this battle between him and Lunarch, and Griffith's car just seems to understeer a bit going into corners, so perhaps their front tyre pressures are just a bit overworked, because I do know with these cars, the more you push them, the more the tyres are going to heat up, and then you can also slow down, let the temperatures cool back down, and then you can give him a go again. So it could be that his front tyres are overheating because he's pushing too hard to try and maintain his pace with Forza Arnabi, because let's face it, Forza Arnabi is definitely one of the best drivers we have here in Australia, sim racing. So yeah, obviously pushing that bit hard to try and maintain that speed just might be hurting his tyres a bit. And you see Scott Larnach flashing his lights at Griffith now, so perhaps he feels that he's getting a bit impatient, wants to get past so he can get up there on fighting terms of Forza Arnabi.
Yeah, and one thing that I've noticed is happening a lot with Forza now is he's done it twice that lap. He's pinching that right front brake is normally up the back. We'll keep an eye on him, see if he does that again. But he's just, you can just see, we'll get the camera onto him. You can just see he's slightly pinching it, locking up that front wheel.
Yeah, I've been noticing that as well. As you see, he's just knocking the cones as he goes past him. So, but yeah, no, he's definitely pushing really hard. So, as I was saying about Griffith, perhaps he's pushing his tyres a bit too much, and they're starting to overheat now. When you see the likes of Scott Lunarch now on the back of Griffith and himself, so that gap's closing up. But I tell you what, keep an eye on Michael Healy and Baden Reed as well, sitting there in 4th and 5th. So, at the moment, they're just playing the popcorn game and just sitting there, taking a nice relaxing drive and not stressing their car too much, so nice and smooth through the corners. So definitely keep an eye on them as this race goes on.
Yeah, and then further back in 6th, we've still got Cameron Dance. Don't discount this guy either. He's a very good driver, and right behind him is Thomas Hinn. So very talented field here tonight at Twin Rings Motegi. And it's still anybody's race. We've got 47 minutes of racing to go here, folks.
Yeah, definitely. So just a bit of an update on Daniel Leeds as well. So he's up in 18th now. So we'll keep you in touch on how our fellow commentator goes throughout the night. So it's good to see him still running in 18th. That's 3 positions gained since the start of the race. So but our biggest mover so far is Brendan Jackson. He's up 16 positions. So he's up to 16th place. Saying that he's dropped down to 17th now. So that's still 15 positions gained within a matter of, I think we are on the 8th lap. So 8 laps and 16 positions. That's a massive feat there, Bernie.
Yeah, and he's got his hands full because he's got the 230 coming down the inside. That's David Mulhall, and Daniel Leet is now working out where he can put his car. So a big battle pack brewing here of the top 3, and we just saw the 402 there get a little bit of tap from Daniel, but Daniel backed out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, another thing I'd like to point out, it's really good job for all these teams and drivers. All these cars look stunning. I mean, I'm just looking at the Brendan Jackson cars. We were talking about it before. That car is awesome looking, that blue and the white with a bit of yellow on it. So like I said, every single one of these cars in this field looks superb. So well done to all the teams and drivers for turning on the liveries.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing that has evolved a lot is a lot of these teams now, they have their own painters, or they pay graphics designers to paint their cars and carry all those logos. A lot of these guys, they are carrying real-world sponsors, and those real-world sponsors are backing them. So they have to have their cars looking perfect, don't they?
Well, exactly. Especially like with the way esports is going these days, you have people like Fernando Alonso starting his own esport team. So esports is definitely on a fast track to becoming almost as big as motor racing itself. Obviously, it's still a bit small at the moment, but as you see things like V8 Supercars, Formula One, they start picking up their competitions and things like that, you'll definitely see a skyrocket. I mean, a lot of these teams are sponsored by race sim companies like Momentum Simulators. I mean, I had one of them. I had to go on one of them at Formula Ones, and it was a really awesome piece of machinery. And yeah, if I ever get a blank checkbook, I'll definitely pick one of them up. So, but yeah, the other good thing about like iRacing, obviously you got real racing. I'm just saying, I'll get back to that. Unfortunately, Brendan Jackson has just made contact with a fellow driver. Just trying to work out who that was, Benny.
Yeah, we'll go back and have a look. I think that might have been David Mulhull there spinning.
Yeah, no, it was. So very unfortunate for him. It's just slight contact as they exit the corner. And unfortunately, I don't think Brendan thought David was going to carry that, not that as much momentum through that corner and just come out as suspected. So perhaps there might be a protest after the race, but that's a good thing about these drivers. At the end of the race, they can lodge a protest if they feel they were hard done by.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're all reviewed, and as we said earlier on, the points are in flux at the moment because some incidents are still being reviewed from previous rounds. But we'll go to the slow-mo here and have a look. Keep an eye on Brendan Jackson in the 402 as he brakes, and we'll just have a look at this at 230. Look at the brakes, all glowing under the lights here at Twin Ring Motegi. But yeah, it looks like Brendan's just come in there pretty hot and just turned him around.
Yeah, so it's a bit unfortunate. They were having a good little battle as that race goes on, but just having a look, David's just in the pits. He just has done his quick repair, filled up his car. So he's done his compulsory pit stop, or at least his pit stop in there to complete. So that actually may play into his cards later on when this random caution comes out. So he's already done his pit stop. He's the first one.
Yeah, we've seen that a few times in these when sometimes guys that, I'm thinking AOSC in particular, a couple of the faster cars came together and had to go in the pits, and we thought they were over, but once the random safety car came out, they're in the best position because they had already made their stop and they could run to the end. But,
yeah, definitely. Just on that as well, Bernie. I didn't even realise he rejoined the race, but Jason Hyde, who's actually involved in that instant start of the race, he actually pitted, fixed his car, and he's come back out. And he's currently running 31st place, so he's also in exactly the same boat as what Brendan's in. So both those two have done pit stops. But the question is, can they make it to the end now on fuel? That's the biggest question, because they all are limited on the tanks.
Yeah, well, that's right, and that's one thing they're going to have to look at for sure. But your top five at the moment is still Forza Elnabi leading. He's got a gap of 1.1 seconds. Scott Lanark now in the 112's got past Griffin Gardner, so he moves into second. And then the train starts. We've got Michael Healy on the back of these guys in the Momo-sponsored car, and then Baden Reed in the Elements Motorsports entry right behind them. Cameron Dance, he's dropped off a little bit, but he's got Thomas Hens for company.
Yeah, exactly. So we must have missed that as we were looking at Brendan's race towards the mid-pack. So, but Lonarch has made it past Griffith Gardner, as you were stating. So Lonarch is now free, so he's now ready to chase down Forza Navi up front there. So as I was saying before, people like Momentum Sim, it's really good sim. It's really good to see real-world sponsors, as you say, get involved in esports, because esports is only ever going to get bigger and bigger as this goes on.
Oh, it definitely will, and we'll give a shout out to Race Star 1 in the number 81 here. He's actually one of the, I think he's an employee of the simulation business over in Bowral, and they were telling me that he's actually racing on their premises tonight in that Race Star 1 entry, and they're the only, you're saying the only simulation business in Australia that has an iRacing commercial licence.
Oh wow, that's definitely a feat in its own. Like, yeah, for someone to actually get something like that, it's phenomenal. Like, I'm surprised that other companies haven't jumped on board something similar. So, but it's really great to see a company of that quality get the recognition they deserve.
Definitely, and it's very exciting, isn't it? And hopefully it'd be great if they've got our broadcast going over there, and if anyone's watching over there, say hello and give us all a wave, not that we can see you.
Yeah, definitely. Just lodge a comment in the YouTube chat, especially if there's any questions you want answered as the race goes on. Just lodge a question up in the YouTube bar, and we'll try and endeavour to answer any questions you guys ask as the race goes on.
Yeah, and one of our favourite viewers has just joined the chat channel. That's George Gibbs. Good morning, George. I hope you're having a fantastic Good Friday over there in America. And it's always a pleasure having you watching the broadcasts and helping to moderate our chat channel. So, Bernie, we're 20 minutes into this race now. So, well, it's 21 laps remaining, or 40 minutes, either or, and Forza Nabi still leads the way. He's currently got the best lap of the race with a 151.3. That was set very early on, but he's currently setting 152.7. Coming in second place is currently Scott Lunarch, with Griffith Gunner still in that third place, and Michael Healy fourth, and running our top five is Baden Reed. Cameron Dan still sitting there in sixth, and seventh place still Thomas Hims. In eighth place is Gene Fitties. In ninth is Richard Skender. And in 10th place is James Mackay. So that's your top 10 currently in the Porsche Carrera Cup Oceania. And looking at the pit stop strategies unfolding, folks, the first car on track that has stopped is Blair Walton in the lucky number 13, and he's stopped 10.6 seconds. So as we were saying, throw some fuel in and get straight back out. But he's 68 seconds down from the lead, and we'll keep an eye on him, because that'll pretty much tell us when the pit stops start where they're going to start to slot in. The other car that has stopped is Nathan Tregarson. He's down here in the 035. His stop was a bit longer, 37.7 seconds. So whenever I see a discrepancy of that much, of about 27 seconds, I have to ask, has Blair underfilled that car?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he could be also doing a two-stopper in this race. You never know. So I don't see the reasoning why you do a two-stop, but you never know. He might know something we don't, Bernie.
Yeah, well, that's right. And one thing we do know is Daniel Leit's down here in 18th at the moment, and he's probably got his eyes on the rearview mirror, because he's got Richard Bales in the 17 in that GoPro entry right behind him.
Yeah, so just looking through the field too, Bernie, it seems pretty well spread out at the moment, besides from that battle you were saying with that Daniel versus Mitchell. So, but the rest of the field seems pretty evenly spread at the moment. So I think a lot of people are just in fuel conservation mode at the moment, trying to save those couple of millilitres of fuel to try and obviously get the undercut in the pits later on.
Yeah, well, that's right, and that always plays a part, doesn't it? And just having a look here, we've got Forznel Nabi. What's going on? He's got the 230 going down a lap, flashing his lights there. The 230, that's David Mulhall, just getting out of their way, as these guys don't want to get held up, because now Scott Lanark saying, let me through, as he's trying to chase down Forznel Nabi. Yeah,
that was a really close call. Lanark almost nailed him in the back there, so obviously Scott thought that he was going to leave the door open, because obviously Nabi went on through on the inside, and Lanark thought, okay, well, he's leaving the door open for me too, but David actually shut the door in there, so it's really lucky that he saw him the last minute. But yeah, I don't think Scott will be very happy about that, but still 35 minutes left on the board with 19 laps left to go, so he's now moving to the side lane and run past, so it's really good to see.
Yeah, to be fair, David's doing the best he can possibly do to keep out of the way of these guys. And on the flip side, when they're in these big trains like this, you know, they don't want to be held up, do they? Like, even if it's for a millisecond, it's as far as a lot of drivers are concerned, it's probably too much.
Well, exactly. I mean, especially when you got the names like Healy, Lanarch, El Nabi, Gardner. When you got those names coming up behind you as well, it is a bit intimidating if you're not used to getting passed by those drivers, because they know how to brake, turn, they know all the ins and outs of these cars, which is why they're as fast as what they are. So it is a bit intimidating, and sometimes you can get a bit spooked when you're seeing them in the rearview mirror. But it's really good to see he done the best he could, and got out of the road really nice and quickly, and everyone lived to play another day.
Yeah, that's right, and that's one thing when you get into multi-class racing is I know when I raced in a few of them in the slower classes, it can be extremely intimidating when you see some of these faster cars coming up behind you, and it's always the rule, you know, hold your line and let them find a way around you. But of course, in this case, David did the right thing. He pulled aside and just let them on by.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I haven't dipped my feet for a whole season in the IMSA sports car series, and the I think it's the Corvette DP. So, and yeah, as you said, when you're driving something that fast up against like GT3s and things like that, the closing speed is absolutely crazy, especially when you got better brakes and everything like that. So, obviously, something like this we don't have multi-class. But it's exactly the same sort of thing. The closing speed for someone that's maybe 2 seconds a lap slower, yeah, it's easier for that driver to hold their line and the faster driver find their way past. It's also exactly the same as go-karting in real life and things like that. When you go to lap people in real life, you want to make sure that they hold their line, because then they're more predictable about what they're going to do, and they're not going to just obviously move it their way in the last minute, and you're going to be on the outside of them. Yeah, obviously incidents happen then, so it's really good that he done the right thing there.
Yeah, that's right, and you hit the nail on the head there. Predictability, that's what plays a big part, and believe it or not, folks, these cars, when you're actually driving them and you see a car in front, you can tell by the body language of that car what the driver's thinking, and if you're unpredictable, then risks start being had and accidents happen. But I must say, the 107 here of Alex Schuler, he's running in this Speed Hunters car, and it looks like he's sponsored by the Army, and that's a beautifully presented car. Of course, the rear wing says "stay sick," so I'm assuming "sick" is one of those words young people use.
Yeah, like that. I'm fully sick, mate. A bit like that. So, but yeah, no, as you said, that's an awesome presented car as well. As I said before, all these drivers and teams have done an awesome job. Yeah, I mean, if you ever ran a competition in this field on which one's the best looking car, I'm pretty sure, yeah, no one's going to win that trophy because they're all equally good looking.
Yeah, and I never won the Cool Trophy. I was out one night. This was a little while ago, not lately. And a young lady came up and we're at a pool hall, and she said, "Hey mate, this is fully sick, isn't it?" And I went, "Oh, if you're feeling ill, you might want to go home." Yeah,
it's a bit funny when they don't understand the common terms people use. I mean, it's the same thing when you walk up to someone when they first started saying LOL and OMG and things like that. People look at you like, what? And now it's common knowledge that everyone goes LOL or OMG or something like that. So I'm pretty sure the OMG you can blame like the Kardashians or some show like that probably. It's brought out the worst in some people, I think.
Yeah, the other thing, I know we're getting off track here, folks, just bear with me. We'll get back to the racing in a minute. The other thing I've noticed is when I grew up, if you walked down the street and you saw people talking into thin air, you always thought they were a bit mad. But these days, you can never tell because they might be just on their mobile phone with one of those earbuds.
Yeah, definitely. Just get back to the action there, Bernie. I just noticed that Jason Hyde, unfortunately, got a disconnection by iRacing, so obviously his internet must have dropped out or something like that. But unfortunately, yeah, started the race, he had a bit of bad luck, and that bad luck continues for him.
Yeah, so the retirement so far, folks, is Jason Hyde and Jordan McDonnell. David Mulhall will that car's been in the pits for some time. He's out there, he's a lap down and circulating. We saw him. Nathan Tregarthen also in a bit of strife out there in the 035. He's just dropped down one lap as well. But still, the pit stoppers, they haven't come out yet. We're halfway. Remember, we've got a random safety car. And I tell you what, if it comes out now, the beneficiary here could be Blair Walton, because he's done his stop. Then again, he's done a short stop, so he may come back in.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that second stop. So, but saying those two names, Jason Hyde and Jordan McDonald, I'm pretty sure both those drivers are from Phoenix Sim Sports. So I think, yeah, they're both not going to be very happy coming from the same team, and unfortunately both are going to get DNF. So unfortunately, no points for their team and no points for them tonight in this round.
Yeah, and that's one thing a lot of the drivers need are points and that consistency of points. But one thing that I have just noticed is Cameron Dance. He's managed to shake Thomas Hinds. He's got a gap out now of 2.3 seconds, and now he's all over the back of Baden Reed. So it looks like this race is definitely coming towards Cameron Dance, and that car's finding pace.
Yeah, speaking about that, he was last lap goodbye, just crossing the line now. He was 4/10 lap faster than Baden in front, so and saying that up the inside, you see Baden just shut the door on Baden and almost contact again as they exit the turn 2. So Dance has definitely come on strong in that TTL Esports car. Baden's definitely got his eyes in the rearview mirror now, Bernie.
Yeah, and he's starting to lock those brakes as well now, which shows he's coming under quite a bit of pressure, because of course these don't have any sort of brake assists in them, do they? Yeah,
no, they don't. So yeah, so pretty much Cameron Dance is the fastest person on track right now. It's only slightly faster than Scott Larnach, but both him and Larnach are the only ones in the 52s in that top 6 at the moment. So with a 52.5 for each of them. So he was 6/10 faster than Baden Reed that last lap. So within the matter of 2 laps, he's gained over a second. So he's definitely showing good speed to be up there battling possibly with Forza Nabi as this race goes on. And then saying that, tries it over and under, dives up the inside, going into the victory, so V corner. Baden gives him plenty of room. They go side by side, heading down towards a hairpin corner. Who's going to get the run? It's a drag race. Cameron Dance thinks better over and slots in behind. He's going to try and do it over and under again. Baden locks up the brakes on the inside. Oh, you know, saying that Dance is around. He's around. So trying to put pressure on Baden Reed, and Cam Dance just loops it coming out of the hairpin curve there, Bernie.
I'll tell you what a recovery. Just donut and straight forward and off he goes. He lost 2 positions, or well, 1 position, because the 035's down a lap. But yeah, if you think these guys aren't pushing it, folks, well, that just shows these guys are right on the edge at the moment.
Yeah, exactly, and don't cut him out either, because don't forget that random safety car as well as pit stops, he's going to be back up there again, and he's showing he was almost the fastest person on the track between him and Larnach. So yeah, definitely keep it on him as the race goes on. He's going to be back up there again, so just going to make sure when he gets back up there he doesn't loop it around again.
Yeah, I'm sure he won't, but the thing is now he's a good 7 seconds off where he was at. So he was right up pressuring Baden Reed. Then he's a good 5 seconds down, 6-7 seconds down from where he was. He's now got to go and fight with Thomas Hinds once more before he can get back to where he was.
Yeah, exactly. Also looking up front as well, Bernie, Scott Larnach now is closing the gap on our leader, El Nabi. That last time by was 3/10 faster, and he's definitely within drafting reach now. So this race is definitely heating up with 14 laps left to go, as well as pit stop. So who's going to blink at these first front runners, as well as that random safety car is going to pop up as well. So it's heating up in the last 14 laps, Bernie.
Certainly is. 26 minutes of racing to go. And it was interesting, Scott Larnach there was flashing his headlights, and Forza El Nabi did one better, and his car flashed in and out completely, as it does once again. And that's just internet connection issues, folks, that Forza's experiencing at the moment.
Yeah, we often see that sometimes from El Nabi. His internet's not the greatest, but it's also not the worst. I've seen worse than that out there, so hopefully that sorts itself out, and we can see these two up front putting on a really good battle, because I do know it is off-putting when you have a blinking car in front of you. You don't know where they are on track, and it's really hard to place your car when you want to pass them.
Exactly right, and it's still amazing for anyone that's tuning in for the first time and wondering what this is all about. Well, it's simulation racing, basically using the iRacing server, or service, I should say. These guys can be anywhere in Australia, New Zealand, or in the world. In fact, a lot of them will have their own simulation racing gear at home, which are wheels, pedals, that sort of thing, and they're sitting at home basically racing each other, and it's a pretty amazing thing when you think about what the technology is allowing these guys to do these days.
Yeah, exactly. It's really great that you can, if you can't afford real-world motorsports, you can jump on and race on a sim, which is almost practically like driving the real thing. I mean, you have real-world races like Shane Van Gisbergen, as we said before, Scott McLaughlin, even NASCAR drivers, Tony Stewart and things like that. They jump on iRacing just to make sure they hone their skills in before a real race meeting. So back at the action though, that last time by El Nabi is answering the call to Scott Lanarch now. So he was 0.15 seconds faster that last time by. So he's matching Lanarch, and Lanarch is flashing his lights, still trying to put off El Nabi up front. But both these drivers are definitely pushing really hard.
Yeah, and it's one of those mind game tricks, isn't it, which people do, but I haven't seen too many people fall for it.
Yeah, it's a bit like the old basketball move, I think it is. They're trying to psych him out, I guess, by flashing your lights at him. So yeah, but I mean, sometimes it does off-put you, but I mean, these experienced drivers, they won't even be watching their rearview mirror. They'll just be watching forwards and racing. It's mainly the inexperienced driver. I was saying that El Nabi now just gets a bad run coming out of the final corner, and Lanarch around the outside.
And he takes him.
Yeah, it takes him going to turn one. So I think El Nabi, like I said, got a bad run coming out that last corner, and just conceded the position, and now he's going to go into some fuel-saving conservation mode. So, but Lanarch leads the way, so it's the first time we see a new driver leading the race.
Yeah, and we're just having a look at this replay, folks, just to see how this developed. And as you were saying, he got a very slow exit, didn't he, off that final corner, which set that whole move up.
You know what it could be as well? It could be that perhaps he actually needs fuel. He may have missed the pit entrance, because obviously at night time you might just completely miss the entry, and you never know, that's what it might have been, and he may run out of fuel, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on and see if he comes in. The other thing I was thinking about is he might be trying to conserve some fuel. May not run out, but he might be just thinking, well, if he sits in behind Lanarch here, he can save a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So looking back further through the field, Cam Dance, after he had that bit of a spin as well, he's made his pit stop as well. So 31.8 seconds in the pit, 11.1 seconds in the pit. So he's now a leading car on track that's made his pit stop.
Yeah, and Blair Walton, who had stopped, he's down in 24th at the moment, so that hasn't really worked for him. Just keeping an eye here on Forza, and we'll see if he comes in again. And it's a very, very tricky pit entry here, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, especially at night time as well. Even during the day, it's hard to see, but at night time, it's just even worse because there's no lights on pit entry. So you just have to go with the gut instinct and just drive, and hopefully you don't get a corner cut.
Yeah, well, it's dark, and it's also got like a pretty sharp S-type chicane that you've got to negotiate as well.
Yeah, definitely. So now Lanarch is in clear air as well. We just set the fastest lap that last time by, not of the race, but of that lap. So he did a 152.7. So he was 2 tenths faster than El Nabi. So as we said, El Nabi may be conserving fuel, but it's Lanarch now with clear track in front of him. He's trying to pull a gap before pit stops and possibly safety car.
And Michael Healy's the first of the front runners there to pit, and just seeing where he comes out, we can see Cameron Dance in the distance, and he's probably got a good 7-second gap over Dance there.
Yeah, so but Dance is still in a good position as well. Don't forget Bernie as well. We got that, as I said, random safety car. So yeah, pretty much no one's counted out of this race as of yet. So Healy will slot back in, possibly back into the top 5, which means Dance will be top 6. when the safety car comes out. So it'll be very interesting to see when they're going to come out, the likes of Griffith Gardner and Baden and Fozo and Nabi. They could be leading this race later on.
And there was nearly contact there with Richard Skender and Michael Healy there. I thought Michael was going to have a go on the inside, and Richard took the line, which it's his privilege to do because he's fighting for position. But while Michael's being battling this out, Cameron Dance is in clean air, so no doubt he'll be able to close that gap up. But the question will be, when these other guys come in, where will they come out?
Yeah, definitely. So you see Dance is still having a hard time with Skender now. So he was up the inside, but Skender back up the inside now, going into hairpin curve. They go side by side through it. So Skinder's definitely holding his ground here up against the likes of Healy, the TTR driver. But in saying that, he concedes a position and slots in behind him, going down towards 90-degree corner.
Yeah, I'll see if he, yes, he has conceded. I was waiting for him to see if he was going to put it back up the inside there and have another go.
So just having a look as well, Bernie, just been informed by league organisers as well that there is no random safety car. So that was a bit of misinformation we were told. So pretty much as they're racing position on track. So yeah, a bit of miscommunication there between us and the league organiser. But it's going to make this racing even more interesting now, knowing that the backfielders won't be bunched up.
Yeah, and just to clear that up, I think the miscommunication was me, because last time we had one of these, they did play with a random safety car, and I just assumed it was going to be the same tonight. But there you go, they'll race to the end, folks. 19 minutes of racing to go, and at the moment we have Scott Lanark leading this race. He's starting to stretch his legs over Forza El Nabi, that gap 1.1 seconds. Then Griffin Gardner sitting in third. He is 4.4 seconds off the lead. Baden Reed sitting in fourth position, and Thomas Hinz, he rounds out your top five.
Yeah, now, I tell you what, though, they're now lapping some lap traffic now. Their front runners, Brendan Jackson being lapped, as well as Jace Richards. So, but this is going to play in the hands of Healy as well as Dance, because these drivers will be losing time on track to these lap traffic. As you see, the gap between Griffith and his teammate El Nabi is now massively opened up. So it's now out to, I believe it's now 4 seconds. So that's time lost to them, obviously to each other, but also to the people they've already pitted.
Yeah, well, exactly right. And you can just see there Griffin Gardner going past one of the cars a lap down. Thomas Hinz, big gaps there. Looking deeper into the field to see if we can find some action for the viewers here. Alex Schuler and Mitchell Bales, they're probably about 3 car lengths separating those guys. And the field's starting to spread out, isn't it?
Yeah, just saying that Baden Reed's now in the pits, and he's just coming out of the pits now. So he comes out in front of Healy. So he's actually gained a position there from doing a bit of fuel saving, sitting in 5th place, and now he slots himself into 6th. So Baden's now making his move on Healy. It could also be he took on less fuel, perhaps. Just looking at the stop time, he did a 10.7, so he was actually 2 seconds in his pit stop faster.
Yeah, and the pit stops are starting to continue here. Richard Skender, he's coming out, a stop of 11.7 seconds, and right behind him James McKee did a stop of 14.5 seconds. Richard Brookfield, he's just finished his stop, 10 seconds. So it looks like, having a look at this, a fast stop, you're in the 10-second mark, and a slower stop, you're going to be anywhere from 13 to down to 15 seconds for a really slow stop.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the other thing we're going to have to keep an eye on now is when El Nabi pits, he's going to take on more fuel than what Lanarch did, because Lanarch did a lot of fuel saving when he was following in behind both Griffith as well as himself. So, yeah, Lanarch, go for it, Benny.
Sorry, both Lanarch and Forza El Nabi there cut the pit entry, and we're just highlighting how tricky that stop is. We'll go back and have a look at this in the replay.
Yeah, exactly. You want to try and make sure you get as much time as you can, because you don't want to lose it. But, I tell you what, Lanarch almost clipped that time barrier as he came in. It was really close. He had everything locked up.
Yeah, we're just having a look at this from the outdoor camera here. Just keep an eye up front. You can see all that tyre smoke, folks. That's Lenarch, and man, he came close to hitting that wall. But yeah,
sorry, Bernie, just saying, so they've now completed their pit stops, both Lenarch and El Nabi, and they both did 9-second pit stops. So we were saying 10 seconds before, they both did 9 seconds. And Thomas Hinds also did a 9-second pit stop, and he finds himself in 4th place. So he's gained 2 positions. That's a net gain on both Healy and Reed. So, yeah, great to see Thomas Hinds now showing his form, up 2 positions from where he started.
Yeah, and Lenarch was the fastest there, 9.4 seconds. So they're all in the high 9s now. I guess they're confident. They've got the calculations worked out, and they figure they can get home from here, and which is generally the way. The deeper they go into the race, the less fuel they have to carry. But one thing I did notice is a lot of the guys are actually cutting that chicane coming into the pit lane, so maybe they don't get any penalty for doing that.
Yeah, they may not get a penalty from iRacing, but possibly race control when the organisers might review it at the end of the race, and who knows, they may lose points from it. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm not quite sure on the rules on that pit entry, Bernie, but you may see some people losing points perhaps.
Yeah, and Healy's on the back of Baden Reed here now, and he nearly looped it like Cameron Dance did, and he's started to flash the lights on exit there, so he's starting to feel the try and turn the heat up on Baden Reed here.
Yeah, exactly. We know Healy's got a quick car in that TTR Momo sponsored Porsche, but yeah, trying to find a way past Baden Reed. It's no easy feat. Baden's definitely a very, very experienced driver when it comes to the likes of GT3 style cars. Quite often you see him running a Ford, the likes of John Peasnick and things like that. So all part of the same team, the Element Motorsports team. So, but yeah, Healy's definitely going to try and find a way past, hopefully.
Yeah, as he works on the back there, let's have a look up front, because Lenarch now has a gap of 1 second, and Forza El Nabi's going with them. If we bring up the battle pack information here, folks, you can actually see the live gaps there. So Griffin Gardner 4.9 seconds behind Forza El Nabi. Thomas Hinds, he's another 4 seconds down from Griffin Gardner.
Just jumping in there, Bernie, Thomas Hinds now just passed the lap traffic of Lakami Lingage. Sorry, I murdered that name, but now Baden Reed and Michael Healy's going to try and make their way past as well. So hopefully they can make their way cleanly past Lakami. But yeah, so you see Healy all over the back of Reed, and now coming into V corner now. Tries to go up the inside of him. Oh, almost contact between Baden and Michael Healy. So, and Baden concedes that position, and Healy's now got past him. So, Baden tries the over and under on Healy, going down the downhill straight, it's called. But again, like him and still in front of him as well. So there's lap traffic playing havoc, I believe, for these two drivers.
Yeah, they're just wanting him to step aside here and let them continue on. I think what Michael was doing was trying another, always Michael just gives him a bit of a tap and says, out of my way. But he was trying to employ another racing strategy, which is if you've got a slower car in front of you and you're racing a person, if you can box them in behind that slower car, you can actually gain a position.
Yeah, I mean, I've had that happen to me before when I was mentioning about the IMSA sports car series. I was running the DP, and I was running right alongside another DP. And I was on the outside going into a corner, and there's a GT3 car that was on the directly in front of me. So I had to pass pretty much down pat. But since that GT3 car was there, I had to back off, and I lost position again. So yeah, it's definitely a really good tactic you can use when you're lapping drivers and battling someone.
Yeah, it definitely is, and there's a few like that, isn't there? Tactics that you can use, the over/under, you know, the all sorts. You can like this one here, where you see the driver coming in on the inside. They often will exit slower to try to keep that car they just passed from getting that undercut on the next corner.
Yeah, exactly. You just do a little bit of a brake check, so you get past them on the inside. Where it's a technique we see a lot in go-karting, where you dive up the inside of someone, you park the car on the corner, and obviously they're going to have to slow down so they don't rear-end you, and you just accelerate from them. So it's definitely a block pass, I think they call it. So it's definitely something you can definitely use when it comes to overtaking your fellow competitors.
We're just going to have a look at the replay here of El Nabi. He's locked up a brake a bit too much this time, and we just saw it as you're talking. Locked up the rear brakes and went onto the infield. Doesn't look like he has lost any position though, because he had such a massive gap. But we will get a live gap for you very shortly, folks, as he comes back across the start-finish line now, and we'll tell you exactly what that gap will be.
Yeah, so the gap between Lanarch and El Nabi is out to 7.83 seconds, I believe it is, Bernie. So, but saying that time by, Lanarch obviously was 2.2 seconds faster because El Nabi made that mistake. So, with 5.5 laps left to go in this race, or 10 minutes on the clock, that could be race over unless Lanarch makes a mistake.
Yeah, well, that gap over Forzen 3.2 seconds, and then Griffin Gardner's 7.2 seconds down. So 9 minutes to go. I'd be expecting to see Lanarch now just starting to manage that gap and not making any, try not to make any mistakes to bring that car home.
Yeah, exactly. Just looking back further through the field as well, it seems pretty much everyone's in single file with a bit of gaps in front of them. So definitely a field spread as this 1 hour race has gone on here in the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia Championship Round 7.
Yeah, I'm just looking deeper in the field. Guy Leach down here in that beautifully presented 46. He's just ahead of Matthew Ratu here in the number 7. These guys are separated by how far now? Around about 0.8 of a second, and then we've got Alex Schuler behind them in the Speed Hunter entry. So we've got a loose battle pack here of 3 cars.
Yeah, so exactly. So this isn't over. They're all battling for a top 15 position. So everyone has their goals set out at the start of the race, whether you want to be top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20. So all of these drivers would love to see their name inside that top 15. As we said, we had 33 cars here. You get into the top 15, that's the first half of the field. Insane that Guy Leach locks up the brakes going through, I believe that was so it's turn 5. So pressure's definitely on with 5.5 laps left to go on the board. Having Bradley Ratu all over the back of him in that Furniture Hub Porsche GT3.
If you want to see some pressure racing, have a look back at 19th position. The 402 of Brendan Jackson goes side by side with Race Star 1. JC Richards right behind these two. These guys are all racing for position, and this is the closest battle we've got on track.
Yeah, definitely. Things are just heating up. I'm pretty sure these guys have been battling pretty much all race. I mean, they've been stuck to each other as it went off. Obviously, we had, I think it was Brendan Jackson that made a slight contact with another driver before. It would have been a 4-car battle if it wasn't for that. But yeah, it's really good to see these drivers battling it out for the top 20 position.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about these sort of races, isn't it? No matter where you are, you can generally find a battle and have a good night racing.
Exactly. I mean, that's what it's all about too, is entering a league where, saying that contact's made now. Brendan Jackson just got rear-ended massively by, it was JC Richards in the PRA Porsche. So I think JC just completely messed up his brake markers and just drilled Brendan straight in the back, and I think that's race over for possibly both of them, because I reckon that would be engine damage for Brendan Jackson.
You'll have a look at this. We're actually riding at the time with JC Richards there, and I nearly put my foot through the carpet here in the office. But yeah, just having a look at that slow-mo. Look at that hit. What a hit. 402 goes around, and we'll try and get... Wow, look at that. He was lucky. I wonder if he's going to get the 81 here.
Yeah, no,
yeah, just in the side of him.
Yeah, he just completely missed his brake marker, and saying that JC Richards has pulled off to the side of the track, so he's called it a race. He's probably obviously got suspension damage, but Brendan Jackson's actually continuing on with this race, still in 20th position, mind you, so it's great to see him still running in a decent position after that contact, but it's very unfortunate. That was, as you said, that was our closest battle on track, and a bit of unfortunate bad luck for the drivers there.
Yeah, at least we got to see some of it anyway, folks, and one of the viewers was saying that was a great battle between positions 19, 20 and 21. It certainly was, but it came to an abrupt end.
Yeah, it's actually also happened just not too far in front of our leaders as well, so it was very lucky that our leaders didn't come up into that and were affected by it.
Yeah, that's right. That's always a risk, isn't it? But meanwhile, up front, Scott Lanark continues to lead this race. We'll bring up the top 10 positions. Scott Lanark leads 3.7 seconds over Forzan Alnabi. Oh, excuse me, my steak's coming back to visit. Griffin Gardner in third, Thomas Hinds fourth. Rounding out your top 5 is still Michael Healy.
So as you said, we've got 3 laps left to go. Just coming, the leader's just coming through 90-degree corner now, I believe it is. I know it's just crossed the line, so 3 laps left to go on the clock, as we said. So not many laps left to go now, Bernie. And I think Lunarch, unless he makes a mistake, he should have this round sewn up, I believe, for the Evolution Racing team.
Yeah, he should have, as long as he's got enough fuel to get that car across the line. And I say that because we have seen in previous rounds some cars miscalculating their fuel and not quite making it.
You know what's going to happen now. Now you jinxed it. You've done the commentator's curse. He's going to run out of fuel.
Well, it'll make for an exciting end, watching him push and see if he can push it over the line within 4.4 seconds.
You never know. Perhaps Forzan Alnabi might be feeling generous. He might push him across the line for him, perhaps. You never know.
Yeah, I think I do.
yeah, no, I don't think that'll happen. I mean, it'd be good if you did, but yeah, when you want that win, yeah, no, you're not going to do that.
No, you might wave to them as you go past.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, under 3 minutes to go here. You can see your race leader, Scott Lanarch, leading this race in the Motum Logitech-sponsored Porsche Carrera Cup car. As far as looking at the week ahead, folks, we won't be broadcasting tomorrow night. I've decided Easter is a good time to have a bit of a break, so there'll be no coverage tomorrow night, but Alex McKellar and his crew will be back Monday night to cover off the Monday night skips. Then join us Tuesday night from about 6:45. It's quite an early start for a very special presentation of the All-Star Shootout. There's actually a competition going on. If you go over to our Facebook page, you can actually like the different teams, and I think the team with the most likes are going to win some sort of prize. But if you go over to facebook.com/RRTV live.
Yeah, definitely, Bernie. I mean, I think it's got best presented livery. So the 10 teams that have entered, they've each sent their liveries to the organisers, and the organisers have whacked photos of all their cars up on the post, and yeah, whichever car gets the most likes, they're going to win best presented livery. And I think it's $10 iRacing credits will go to the team. So obviously the teams can use that for whatever they want. They can pay for another livery. They can use it for an in-team competition themselves and things like that. So really good thing by the organisers to do something like that for the event.
Certainly, as it builds up the whole profile, gets the spectators to get to know the different teams that will participate, and it's an invitational, so not all teams will be there, but it'll definitely be an exciting night with an exciting format, and I for one I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good night.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a weird format. It's a bit of a cross between Speedway GP and Rallycross. So 4 drivers per race, and I think there's like 30 heats and things like that. And then you've got a joker lap for each driver's going to have to try and do, which is a slightly longer lap. So it's going to be a lot different than anything we've ever seen before, I believe. So Yeah, I quite look forward to it myself, Bernie.
Yeah, I'm thinking we might turn it into a drinking game.
That'll be interesting by the end of the night, I think, for the commentators, I reckon. Every time someone does a joke like drink, you're going to be drinking every race.
Yeah, well, there's about 40 heats, we'll be right.
Yeah, so back to the action now, Bernie. Our race leader, Scott Larnach, now starts the final laps. The white flag is out. So he's in front by 6 seconds, I believe it is, from Forza Onabi, currently sitting in second place with Griffith Gardner sitting in that third place. So that's your top three. So currently right now, Performance Sin Sports has 2 cars in the top 3. Thomas Hinz still currently in that 4th place. A great result by him. And Michael Healy rounding out your top 5 so far with a half lap left to go. Looking further down the leaderboard, our biggest gainer is still Brendan Jackson, sitting in 20th place. Even after that contact, he's still gained 12 positions so far in this race. So great job there for Brendan Jackson. He's our Hard Charger Award winner so far tonight.
Yeah, and he's circulating right behind Cameron Dance there. If you look at the speed difference, there's not a lot of difference between them, is there?
No, there isn't. I mean, that's a good thing about these the Porsches. They're very close. Unless you are nailing it every single lap, this lap times are usually pretty close. Like you can look at the lap charts. Majority of the front rows are saying 53, 55, so 53 9s, 53 8s, 53 7s. So they're all pretty much very similar on track. So that's what's really good about these cars. Everyone's in exactly the same machinery. It's just how you set it up and how you drive it. Yeah,
exactly. You can see now Scott Larnach coming down the back straight here at Twin Ring Motegi, and only a couple of corners to go here, and he will take out round 7 here of the Porsche Carrera Cup 2018, and here we go, and it's not coughing, it's got a lot of fuel. Look at that thing go.
Exactly. Across the line, checker flag is out. Scott Larnach, your winner, round 7 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia here on RRTV Live. Crossing across the line in second place will be Fawzat El Nabi, our pole sitter for the race. Unfortunately, just didn't have any answer for Scott Larnach there in the end, with Griffith Gardner locking out the top 3 positions.
We're going to see if we can see fireworks. I haven't actually seen any of the fireworks at Twin Ring Motegi.
I tell you what, put the camera on Scott Larnach, right? Oh, no, and just saying they just got collected. He was doing some victory donuts just after turn 1, and unfortunately just got clipped by a car driving past. So that kind of ruins his fun. So
yeah, that they weren't the sort of fireworks I was talking about, folks. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, I can see the fireworks now in the background. So that's a good thing about the nighttime races. I usually only see it on dirt racing, but I think it's the very first time I've ever seen it here on a road track, Bernie.
We're just having a look here at Mitchell Bales and Guy Leach racing for the position here down the back straight. Guy Leach on the inside, and he's going to make that move. It's going to make it stick, so he moves up to 14th position.
Yeah, he's got the position sewn up, so it's a great net gain there for Guy Leach after being involved in the early incident on the first lap to bring it home in 14th place. It's a top 15 position for him. Awesome effort there for the 46 driver. I believe he's part of the Gavin Sandler racing team.
Yeah, having a fantastic run, and then we can see Alex Schuler coming across the line, Will Barrington, and then Daniel Leet is coming through 1 lap down, finishing in 18th position.
Definitely, that's our last driver to cross the line. So all drivers have finished the race. So congratulations, as we said, to Scott Larnach, Fawzat El Nabi in that second place. Griffith Gardner gets 3rd. Thomas Hinz in that 4th place. And Michael Healy running out your top 5. Then in 6th place was Baden Reed. In 7th, Cam Dance, after that early incident, managed to bring home in 7th place. Gene Fiddies for Progress Racing Australia in 8th. In 9th place, Richard Askender. Awesome result there for Richard. Running out your top 10 is Richard Brookfield. No slouch in these GT3 style cars. Then in 11th place is Chris Dawson. In 12th place, Luke Luteness. In 13th is Guy Leach, I believe it was. I think I'm getting my results here. So 14th, 13th was Guy Leach. So you gained an extra position there, possibly from someone pulling out there at the end. 14th place was Mitchell Bales. Bradley Ratu running at your top 15. Alex Shirley in 16th. Will Barrington in 17th. Daniel Leeds in 18th. Race Star 1 in 19th. And Brendan Jackson running at your top 20. Then in 21st was Blair Walton. Brett Douglas in that 22nd position. Lazith Liganage in 23rd. Then in 24th place was Lakimi Lineage. So I believe they might be related, both the same last name there, Bernie. And then in 25th was David Mauhal. Nathan Terragathan in 26th. Tim Weston 27th. 28th, Isaac Edwards. Mick Wilson, 29th. 30th place was Jace Richards. He pulled out there at the end. So these were our non-finishers, which was Jace Richards, James Mackay, Jason Hyde, and Jordan McDowell. They were your DNFs in this race.
Yeah, and just a correction there. It was Griffin Gardner that came in third, not Griffith Gardner.
Oh, sorry there. I'm very bad when it comes to names. Just to see me commentating in go-kart races, I just butcher people's names. I pick them up eventually, but it just takes some time to get used to. I mean, I know I struggle a little bit on dirt racing, and I got told off by a couple of drivers, and hopefully I'll have their names down pat for next Wednesday.
Yeah, I get corrected quite a few times by drivers, but I forget how to pronounce it the following week, and I think they just give up.
Yeah, we might just have to come up with some sort of nicknames or something for these drivers. It'll be easier to call them. So,
yeah, Fred's leading Fred. All right, let's bring our first interview up, and that is Thomas Hinds. Hi, Thomas. Welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate. Congratulations, 4th position. Looked like you had your pit strategy down pat tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Bernie. Yeah, I don't know why. I just ran the fuel to the end, and as you usually do, and I just went the usual about a lap extra just in case. It was an extra lap there, and apparently it was enough to jump Healy and Baden as well. So I'm assuming Baden and Healy must have been battling a bit. That'd be my thinking to why I managed to jump them. But yeah, no, it was good. A nice little surprise. I'd kind of settled for 6th at best, with Cam having that spin just before the stops. But yeah, to come away with the 4th, I'm happy with that. I didn't think I'd quite have the pace to get to that position, but no, very good, and was just about closing on Griffin there at the end, but he just had the pace to hold on, which was a great result for him and Porzan as well. But yeah, no, really fun race. It's really close at the top. They're all Larnack and Griffin and Porzan, Healy, everyone of them racing around there. It's really close. So yeah, really good fun racing, and certainly gives you a workout.
Yeah, and Cameron Dance was giving you a bit of a run for your money earlier until he looped it there. He was behind me there at the start. I think he got by me and Baden off the line, and then went wide and dropped behind me. But I know how quick he is in these Porsches. He's very quick in pretty much everything, but he's especially so in the Porsches. So had a look. I think a few laps in, he was kind of closing slowly, so I just let him have it because I knew he was quicker. And yeah, kept plugging away, and he sort of caught up to Baden, and then he had the spin, and that got me back by again. So yeah, no, good race. I'm happy with it. I don't think I didn't have any real major lockups or anything. Just kept it clean. I don't think I got any off tracks or anything either, which is really nice. Nice little thing to get. So yeah, really clean race for me, and yeah, to get a good result out of it too is a nice, nice to have, and good more points for the championship. Yeah, definitely. And what's it like racing around Twin Ring Motegi at night?
Yeah, it's good fun. I don't mind the track. It's one of those ones though. I was thinking about in practice. I think it's one of those tracks that, because of the way it is, and it's a bit of a unique track with its corners and layout. I think it's one of those ones that you always feel like you can get a bit more time. I feel like whenever I come here, I'm always like, oh, I could get another 10th or 2. Even if I almost get almost a perfect lap, I'm like, oh, there could be another 10th or 2. And it's one of those tracks that just keeps teasing you to get a bit more pace. But yeah, at night it's it's good fun. I think it suits it at night, which is probably whenever it is raced, it's generally at night because it just kind of suits the track. But yeah, it makes it a bit different. Obviously, you got different temperatures and tyre temps to look at, so it does put a bit of a curveball in there to mix things up a bit.
Fantastic. Well, before we let you go, let's get a shout out to all your sponsors and supporters that backed your car tonight.
Yeah, well, as usual, Rat Corp and Cash-Centric, big thanks to them for their continued support with the team. Really appreciate it. Obviously, SRC as well, Sim Racing Collectibles, Jay's little project there. Big thanks to him for allowing us to put them on the car. I haven't put them on the Porsche yet, but I'm sure we'll put them on there eventually. And yeah, just as usual, big thanks to the team for being awesome, and big thanks to you guys for the broadcast. It was top notch as always, and yeah, thanks to Jordan and everyone running the series. It's shown in the racing at the top there how close it is. I mean, under 20 seconds for the top 7 after an hour of racing is pretty fantastic. So it shows just how hard fought this championship is and how much fun these cars are. So yeah, thanks to them, and yeah, look forward to the next one.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for popping in, mate, and we'll let you go and enjoy having a nice Easter break.
Yeah, thank you very much. Same to you guys, and I'll see you next time.
See you, mate. Looks like we have Daniel Leet in the comm box waiting to come up. I might get you to have a chat with him if you like, Clint.
Yeah, no, definitely. Bring him on in. I'll have a chat to him.
Awesome, man.
A few questions. Hey, Daniel, how's it going?
G'day, fellas. How are you?
Pretty good. Now, we'll have the camera on you a fair bit in that race, obviously being a fellow RRTV commentator yourself. So it was good to see you. When you watch this back, you have a bit of screen time. How do you think the race went?
Yeah, look, really good. I think probably had a podium car, just the driver let us down, as usual. But no, a lot of fun. These things are pretty interesting to get your head around to begin with, but once you do, fantastic to drive.
Yeah, no, like I said, quite often when we had the camera on you were in a tight net battle pack of between 3 and 4 cars, I think it was, for most of the race. Yeah, a couple of times there we thought contact was going to be made. I mean, how did you find battling in that pack went? Yeah, especially at the start, it was probably we probably all overdrove it a little bit too much maybe there, but we had a good battle. I think it was Brendan Jackson, so that was a lot of fun. I think I made a bit of a stupid error and spun the car, so that threw us back down the grid as well. But later on in the race, yeah, it was really good. I'm really surprised just how well these tyres hang in, especially with the way everyone's pushing. It was really, really fun. No, exactly. I mean, you still gained 3 positions from where you started as well, so a top 20 finish for yourself tonight in your Penrite-sponsored car there. Now, looking on to the rest of the series, what do you think you're going to be able to achieve? Do you think you're better on the result, possibly a top 10 in the next round?
Look, I don't know if I'll actually get many more of these because it's obviously doing the Friday night AOSC with Bernie, and that's hard to sort of get the time in after work to do these things. I'd love to, but might look for the odd special events like these ones just to do them where I can, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm always happy to jump in and fill the gap of your commentating for you to have a spin, because it's great to see you out there steering the wheel and enjoying yourself. Obviously, you need a break every now and again from commentating duties, but for sure there would be other people you would like to thank as well on behalf of your team.
Yeah, so we had Nathan out here. I don't know if he got if you guys saw him much at all, but he was out having a good run tonight. But as far as sponsors go, so we got Penrite on there, Pagnum Imports, Leading Edge Computers, Next Level Sim Racing. Yeah, some really good sponsors, and thank you very much to them for coming on and looking after the team as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a sweet-looking Penrite oil car you got there as well. So congratulations on your top 20 finish, finishing in 18 tonight, Daniel Leet.
Yeah, cheers, mate. And actually, that paint job was a last-minute addition that we weren't planning to run anything tonight for that.
Well, that's all right. Well, it still looks sexy as on the car, so well done.
Cheers, boys.
That looks like we've got one more interview to go, folks, and that is with our race winner, Scott Lanark. Did you want to start having an interview with him, Clint, or did you want me to?
Yeah, definitely. I saw him jump into the comm booth here, so it'd be great to have a chat with him. Scott, our race winner. Well done.
Hey, fellas, thanks for that. Yeah, how good's that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you start off a bit slow there. It took you a couple of laps to get the car going, sitting there in 3rd place. But once it came on strong. It did, your ERT car there.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, pretty much this week I haven't had much time to sort of knuckle down and put together a tune, or sort of a last-minute tune in that last hour. Been focusing mainly on the VLN that's coming up tomorrow night. But yeah, once it got a bit of tyre temp and everything like that, it came alive, and yeah, felt good, got getting a rhythm. And as soon as I got that rhythm, yeah, it was good.
We saw you catch some lap traffic as that race went on as well. How did it go getting past them? Was it a bit hairy? A couple of incidents there, perhaps?
Yeah, I think there was a part there I was getting fairly close to Forzan, and I don't know who it was, just come straight across and had to do everything I can to not hit him, and yeah, it was a bit hairy.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're like the leading the race or battling to lead the race. Yeah, you don't want to get mixed up with any lap traffic getting in the way of your battle. So now, one person I didn't see enter that we would love to see out here is your old mate Bo Albert. What was he up to tonight? Why wasn't he racing?
Not sure. I had no idea if he was going to make an appearance or not. I might have to give him a bit of a hard time, I think.
Yeah, get on.
I think he's a bit scared of the Porsche these days. He's been focusing on his GT3. So.
Fair enough. I mean, this Porsche Carrera Cup Australia series is pretty good. So if he's ever looking for something to race in, tell him to come on over. I mean, just tell him to watch the race tonight, and some pretty close racing there. So, anyways, where are we going to see you later on in this championship? I believe you are leading the championship. I think, Bernie, is that right?
Yes, Scott was leading it, but remember there's a few reviews going on at the moment with race admin.
Oh, true. So how do you think you're going to go for the rest of the series there, Scott?
Yeah, I guess it was just one of those things. I guess you can't really foresee the future. You know, you can get tangled up in any accidents, or have a bit of a moment here or there, and you can not DNF a race, and you lose all that lead that you got. So, just take it race at a time, moment, and just enjoy it. I think is the main thing, and just finishing up in that sort of top 5 would be the goal, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely showed the speed at this round and previous rounds. Even in the VON as well, you're definitely good in this Porsche car. So it was great to see you out on track. No doubt you have a few people you'd like to thank.
Yes, of course. Our sponsors, Logitech G, Modem Racing Simulators, and General Real Timing, and obviously you guys for the broadcast.
No problem. Thank you so much. That's your race winner there for round 7 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia, Scott Lunnard. All the best for the future rounds.
Thanks, boys.
Now, Bernie, I believe we got Forzan El Nabi as well, just slotted himself into the com booth here, so I'll let you take this one.
Fantastic. Hi, Forzan. Welcome to the RRTV com box, mate. And first of all, congratulations on your 2nd place.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Second's good placing tonight, but yeah, could have been first.
Yeah, we were noticing you're pinching the front brake quite a bit tonight, entering the corner. Was that affecting the performance of that car tonight?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was, but I'm just getting used to left foot braking now, so
okay.
I've recently switched over from braking with my right foot. So yeah, I'm just getting used to the brake pedal with my left foot now, and yeah, it wasn't too good tonight, but hopefully it'll get better. Yeah.
So, what's bringing on the change in pedal work?
I don't know. I just wanted to brake with my left foot because you know how nowadays we've got all GT cars and everything's really fast, so you might as well just use both your feet rather than just one. So yeah, I've been trying it out recently, and yeah, still getting used to it, but yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And we saw you have that bit of a lose coming in to one of the hairpins there. That looked like it could have been a left foot brake issue as well.
Yeah, pretty much spot on there. Yeah, just not used to that brake pedal yet with my left foot, but yeah, it'll get better on.
Yeah, and after you master it, try going back to right foot braking again, and that's a real mind spin. But we'll get back to the racing tonight. Very good racing going on, especially earlier on. You were leading the race, and you and Griffin and Scott and Thomas and Michael and Baden, all of you guys were within, a couple of seconds of each other. What was that like racing around here at night?
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool with the lights and everything. So, yeah, it was pretty enjoyable smashing the Porsche around that circuit tonight. So, yeah, no, it was quite enjoyable. But, I mean, congratulations to Scotty. He was the faster car tonight. So, yeah, he won and well-deserved.
Yeah, so I guess we saw you were putting a bit of pressure onto him up until that spin. Is that at that time, was that when you conceded that second place was what you were aiming for?
Pretty much, yeah. I just, lost focus and concentration after that because I knew he had the pace anyway. So, yeah, he was going to walk away with it. So, yeah, second place is all I can do.
Yeah, and we see you quite a lot in the V8 supercar. And for the viewers that don't really know the difference between the Porsche and the V8 supercar, can you give the viewers a little bit of an idea about how different they are or how different they are to drive, that sort of thing?
Yep, so obviously Porsche's rear engine, so you've got the front of the Porsche, it's really light, so tends to get a bit of understeer, while the V8's a front engine, so you can really point the car to the corner rather than just getting that understeer compared to the Porsche. And obviously the V8's a lot, has way more horsepower than the Porsche, so yeah, you got to control the wheel spin off the corners. And yeah, but the Porsche it's a really good stepping stone to the V8 because it's still difficult to drive. And with the V8, you've got the power and you've got the brakes and heel toe, and you have to blip it yourself and stuff. But yeah, Porsche's still a good stepping stone. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for just answering that question. I'm going to hand you over to Clint. Clint's got a question for you, mate.
Hey, boys, and well done tonight. Your second place finish for the Performance Sim Sport. Obviously, you guys knocked out second and third tonight, so obviously the team will be happy. Just a quick question, not related to this series, obviously, but you're mentioning the obviously the V8 as well as the Porsche, and you dipped your toes in the GT3 action a bit, but you're racing a Riley Daytona prototype next week in the All-Star Shootout. You're one of our entered drivers, so are you looking forward to that?
Absolutely. I can't wait for it. Last time I raced All-Star Shootout at Zandvoort as well. It was a blast. I had a blast. So, yeah, I'm absolutely looking forward to Tuesday. So, yeah, it should be good fun.
Have you done any practice leading up to that event? Like, obviously, you and your team at Lewis Palo Golan, obviously, you got some pretty stiff competition. So, you've been turning any laps yet, or you're going to, or you're just going to rock up and race?
Yeah, no, we'll be doing a bit of practice. So, yeah, me and Louise will be doing a couple of sessions from now till Tuesday, and yeah, we'll be hopefully ready to challenge the big boys on Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, obviously, both you and Griffin Gardner, as I said, both Performance Sim Sports, so no doubt you guys both have people you'd like to thank.
Yep. No, just first of all, big shout out to Griffin Gardner. He drove an incredible race. Obviously, he came in the P3, so yeah, last couple of weeks he's jumped up leaps and bounds from where he was. So yeah, just a big shout out to Griffin, and obviously our sponsors, WP Concreting, Motion Performance Exhaust, and obviously Western Mazda. And I'd just like to thank Bernie and you and all the boys at RRTV for the broadcast as well.
No problem. So that was your second place finisher, Farzan El Nabi. All the best for the rest of the series, and all the best for All-Star Shootout next week.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of our interviews tonight, folks. But looking at the week ahead, remember daylight savings kicks out, I think, tomorrow night, April the 1st. People think I'm playing a joke, but I'm pretty sure it ends this weekend. But join Alex McKellar and his crew, as I call them, Monday night. They'll be broadcasting on RRTV live, the Monday night lights, and then come back on Tuesday for the All-Star Shootout. Very early start. It looks like we're kicking off at about 6:30 p.m, so it's going to be an early start, but it will race for quite a number of hours. I think that's why it's starting so early, Clint.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these events usually go for about 3.5, 4 hours, I believe. You've got to get through 30 heat races, plus the semi-final, plus your final on top of it. So, but the good thing about these events is it gives the drivers a chance to have a race and then have a break and watch the action as well. And we may even better pull a few of the drivers in between their races and have a chat to them and see how their night's going on. So definitely looking forward to that. It's a good spectacle and a lot different than what we usually see for standard racing. So looking forward to that, Bernie.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And remember, if you go over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/RRTV Live, and vote for the best presented team paint job over there. So the best presented team will win, I think it's $10 iRacing credits, which goes a long way. Almost pays for a track, so that's good. But that pretty much wraps it up tonight, Clint. Were you happy? What did you think of the racing before we go?
Yeah, I tell you what, for my very first Road Series call, I really thoroughly enjoyed myself. I definitely see myself coming back in future events, obviously in the Porsche Carrera Cup Australia and possibly the V8 Supercars, which is done on Friday nights, and possibly even some GT3 action. So, yeah, it was definitely a bit nervous starting the night, dipping my feet in the water, but as the night went on, it was definitely great. And the guys put on great racing, which makes it even more easier for a commentator when you have events like this with the battles on track. Obviously, when the driving is very progressional kind of type thing and everyone's just single file, there's not really much to call on, so it's a lot harder. But when there's action on track, it makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah, it certainly does. No, it was a very enjoyable race tonight, that's for sure. And, yeah, next week's going to be a big week for us because I think RRTV has something on just about every night of the week next week apart from Sunday night. So it's going to be a big week for us.
Indeed, a lot of sleepless nights preparing scripts and getting info and things like that. So but I am definitely looking forward to it, Bernie.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, folks, thank you all for joining us tonight, wherever you are in the world and wherever you are watching us, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a fantastic Easter with your family and a nice break, and we look forward to your company again on Tuesday night for the All-Star Shootout. On behalf of Clint Smith, I forgot your name, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Good night.